Hello, everyone, friends. Life has a way of delivering us into moments we'd rather avoid. Moments when something we love ends, when someone we care for walks away, or when the life we imagined unravels before our eyes. And our instinct often is to cling. We cling to relationships, dreams, and even pain because holding on feels safer than facing the void that comes with letting go. Courage in letting go is one of the most profound yet challenging acts we can undertake in our lives. It often feels counterintuitive. After all, we're taught from an early age that persistence, determination, and holding on to what we value are the hallmarks of strength. We hear stories of people who fought relentlessly for their dreams, for relationships, for success. But what we don't often hear are the stories about the courage it takes to recognize when it's time to release, to step away, and to make peace with an ending. Letting go is not a sign of weakness. On the contrary, it demands a kind of bravery that is raw and unyielding. It asks us to confront not only the loss itself, but also the fear of what comes next. It requires us to untangle our identity from what we're releasing, whether that's a person, a job, a belief, or a dream. We don't cling to things merely because we love them, we cling because they feel safe. They anchor us, give us direction, and sometimes even define who we are. To let go is to dismantle that safety net and step into the unknown. This process of letting go begins with a deep internal reckoning. It requires us to ask ourselves some of life's most difficult questions. Is this still serving me? Is holding on helping me grow, or is it holding me back? These questions force us to look at the parts of ourselves that we'd often rather ignore, the parts that are scared, ashamed, or uncertain. Answering them truthfully can feel like ripping away a protective layer, exposing us to a vulnerability we'd rather avoid. Yet this vulnerability is the very birthplace of courage. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the willingness to act in the face of it. Letting go asks us to confront the fear of change, the fear of loss, and the fear of loss, and the fear of the unknown. It asks us to release our grip on control and trust that we will be okay, even without the thing we're holding on to so tightly. And that trust, that's where courage lies. It's a quiet, persistent voice that says, you may not know what's next, but you have survived every ending before, and you will survive this one too. Letting go often feels like standing on the edge of a cliff, looking out at a vast, empty expanse. The thing we're holding onto, the job, the relationship, the dream, it's the solid ground beneath our feet. To let go is to take a step off that cliff, to free fall into uncertainty. But here's the truth, the solid ground isn't always as steady as it seems. Sometimes it's crumbling beneath us, eroding our happiness, our growth, and our potential. The act of letting go isn't about jumping into the abyss, it's about choosing to trust that there's a net or wings waiting for us. One of the hardest parts of letting go is facing the emotional weight of it. It's not just about the loss itself, it's about what the loss represents. When we let go of a relationship, we're not just losing a person, we're losing the dreams we had with them, the version of ourselves we were when we were with them, and the future we imagined. When we let go of a job, we might be letting go of financial security, professional identity, or a sense of purpose. And when we let go of a belief or a way of being, we might be letting go of years of certainty, comfort, and familiarity. These layers of loss can feel overwhelming, making it tempting to cling even tighter. But courage calls us to face these emotions head on, to sit with them, and to trust that they won't break us. Another aspect of courage in letting go is the willingness to be misunderstood. Not everyone will understand your decision to walk away from something or someone that seems valuable or important. You might face questions, judgment, or even disappointment from others. People might say, why would you leave that job? It's so stable. Or how could you let that relationship go? You seem so happy. These external voices can echo the doubts we already carry internally, making it even harder to take that step. But courage means trusting your own voice above all others. It means knowing that you are the only one who truly understands the cost of holding on and the freedom that comes with letting go. Letting go also requires immense self-compassion. It's easy to berate ourselves for not being strong enough to hold on or for getting into a situation we now need to leave. We might replay moments of failure or question our decisions endlessly. But courage means offering ourselves grace. It means recognizing that letting go is not about failure, but about growth. It's about acknowledging that staying in a situation that no longer aligns with who we are does not serve us or anyone else. Lastly, courage and letting go is an act of self-trust. It's about believing that you are capable of navigating the aftermath of loss, of building something new, and of finding joy again. This trust doesn't come easily. It's something we have to cultivate, often through small, incremental acts of bravery. Each time we let go, whether it's of a minor grievance or a life-altering relationship, we prove to ourselves that we are resilient. And that resilience becomes the foundation for greater courage in the future. Letting go is not a single act, it's a process. It's a decision we make again and again and again, each time the temptation to cling resurfaces. And each time we choose courage over fear, we grow a little stronger, a little braver, and a little more free. Hurt is an inevitable part of life, an experience that touches everyone regardless of their circumstances. Yet we often treat hurt like an unwelcome visitor, a force to be avoided, suppressed, or escaped at all costs. Society tells us to move on, stay strong, or focus on the positive as though hurt is something shameful or unworthy of our attention. But the truth is, hurt is not only necessary, it is profoundly transformative. It's a teacher, a compass, and a signal that we've been invested in something that mattered. To deny hurt is to deny our humanity. And to embrace it is to step into the fullness of what it means to live a meaningful life. At its core, hurt is a reflection of connection. We feel hurt because we cared, because something or someone mattered to us. Whether it's the end of a relationship, the loss of a loved one, or the failure of a dream, the pain we experience is a measure of the depth of our investment. Hurt is the price we pay for love, hope, and ambition. While it might be tempting to numb that pain or run from it, doing so would mean turning away from the very experiences that make life rich and purposeful. Hurt also serves as a messenger, calling our attention to wounds that need healing. Just as physical pain alerts us to a broken bone or a deep cut, emotional hurt signals that something within us needs care and attention. Ignoring or suppressing that pain doesn't make it go away, it merely buries it deeper, where it can fester and manifest in other ways: anger, bitterness, or even physical illness. When we listen to our hurt, we allow ourselves the opportunity to address the source of our pain, to learn from it, and to grow stronger in its aftermath. Another vital aspect of hurt is its role in breaking down our illusions of control. Many of us spend our lives trying to build a sense of security and predictability. We plan, prepare, and hold tightly to the things we believe will keep us safe. But when hurt enters our lives through loss, failure, or betrayal, it shatters those illusions. It forces us to confront the reality that life is uncertain, that change is inevitable, and that we are not as in control as we would like to believe. While this realization can be deeply unsettling, it is also liberating. In surrendering our illusion of control, we make room for acceptance, adaptability, and resilience. Hurt is also a gateway to vulnerability, a state of being that many of us fear, but is essential for genuine connection and growth. When we allow ourselves to feel hurt, we open ourselves up to our rawest, most authentic selves. It is in this state of vulnerability that we connect most deeply with others, that we foster empathy, and that we build the kind of relationships that can withstand the storms of life. Hurt strips away our defenses, leaving us exposed but also open to healing, open to love, and open to transformation. The experience of hurt is often accompanied by feelings of shame or inadequacy. We may think, if I were stronger, I wouldn't feel this way, or if I were better, this wouldn't have happened to me. But these thoughts are rooted in a misconception that hurt is a sign of weakness or failure. In reality, hurt is a testament to our courage. It shows that we were brave enough to love, to hope, to try. It takes immense strength to put our hearts on the line, to dream big, and to take risks, knowing full well that we might get hurt. Feeling pain in the aftermath of those efforts is not a sign that we've failed, it's a sign that we've lived. Hurt is also an essential ingredient in personal growth. Growth is rarely comfortable. It often requires us to confront difficult truths about ourselves, to let go of what no longer serves us, and to stretch beyond what we thought we were capable of. Hurt pushes us out of our comfort zones, forcing us to adapt and evolve. It is in the midst of our pain that we discover our resilience, our capacity for forgiveness, and our ability to rebuild. Without hurt, we would remain stagnant, clinging to what is familiar instead of reaching for what is possible. One of the most profound lessons hurt teaches us is the importance of impermanence. It reminds us that nothing in life, no relationship, no moment, no feeling is permanent. While this can be a painful realization, it is also a beautiful one. Hurt encourages us to cherish what we have while we have it, to be present in the moment, and to appreciate the fleeting nature of life. It teaches us to let go of what we cannot control and to find peace in the knowledge that even our deepest pain will eventually pass. Another way hurt shapes us is by fostering compassion. When we experience pain, we become more attuned to the pain of others. We begin to understand that everyone carries their own burdens, their own silent struggles. This understanding can deepen our relationships and inspire us to act with greater kindness and empathy. Hurt, in this way, becomes a bridge connecting us to one another in our shared humanity. Hurt is not something to be feared or avoided, it is something to be embraced. It is through our pain that we discover what we are made of, what truly matters to us, and what we are capable of overcoming. While the experience of hurt is never easy, it is always meaningful. It shapes us, teaches us, and ultimately prepares us for the beauty and joy that life has to offer. Healing is a process that demands more than just time, it requires space. In a world that often glorifies productivity, resilience, and the ability to bounce back quickly, the idea of creating space for healing can feel countercultural, even indulgent. Yet, without space, physical, emotional, and mental true healing cannot occur. Healing is not something that can be rushed or forced. It requires room to unfold naturally, free from distractions, expectations, and the relentless pace of modern life. Creating space for healing begins with acknowledging the need for it. When we experience pain, loss, or trauma, there's often a temptation to power through, to keep moving as though nothing has happened. We may tell ourselves, I'll deal with this later, or I don't have time to feel this right now. But healing cannot be postponed indefinitely. Ignoring pain does not make it disappear, it simply buries it deeper, where it lingers and grows, often manifesting in other ways: physical illness, emotional outbursts, or a persistent sense of unease. The first step in healing is to stop, to recognize the need for space, and to give ourselves permission to create it. Emotional space is perhaps the most critical dimension of healing. It means setting aside time to sit with our feelings, to process what has happened, and to allow ourselves to grieve. Grief, in its many forms, is an essential part of healing. Whether we are mourning the loss of a loved one, the end of a relationship, or the collapse of a dream, grief is the process by which we come to terms with what has been lost. But grief cannot be rushed, nor can it be neatly contained. It requires space to ebb and flow, to emerge in its own time and way. Creating emotional space often means setting boundaries. This can be challenging, especially when others expect us to move on or get back to normal. Healing requires the courage to say no to invitations, to obligations, and even to people who drain our energy. It requires carving out time to be alone with our thoughts and feelings, even when that solitude feels uncomfortable. In a culture that values constant connectivity, choosing solitude can feel like an act of rebellion. But it is in those quiet, unguarded moments that we begin to process our pain, to make sense of our experiences, and to find clarity. Mental space is equally important. Our minds are often cluttered with to-do lists, responsibilities, and the constant stream of information from the world around us. When we are in pain, this mental noise can be overwhelming, leaving little room for reflection or self-compassion. Creating mental space might involve practices like mindfulness or meditation, which help quiet the mind and bring us into the present moment. It might mean stepping away from social media, limiting exposure to news, or simply giving ourselves permission to take a break from the relentless demands of daily life. Mental space allows us to focus on what truly matters: our well-being and our journey toward healing. Physical space is another crucial aspect of the healing process. Our environment has a profound impact on our ability to heal. Cluttered, chaotic spaces can mirror and amplify the chaos we feel internally, while calm, serene environments can provide a sense of peace and stability. Creating physical space might mean decluttering our homes, spending time in nature, or finding a quiet corner where we can retreat and reflect. It might involve removing ourselves from situations or environments that feel toxic or overwhelming. Physical space is not just about the absence of distractions, it's about creating a sanctuary where healing can take place. One of the most challenging aspects of creating space for healing is letting go of the need to be productive. We live in a society that equates worth with accomplishment, and the idea of slowing down or stepping back can feel like failure. But healing is not a linear process, nor is it one that can be measured by external standards. It requires us to embrace a different kind of progress, one that is internal, subtle, and deeply personal. This might mean spending a day resting, journaling, or simply sitting with our emotions without feeling the need to justify that time to ourselves or others. It means recognizing that healing is its own form of work, and that it is just as valuable, if not more so, than the tasks and responsibilities that usually fill our days. Another essential element of creating space for healing is patience. Healing does not happen on a schedule. It unfolds at its own pace, often in fits and starts. There will be days when we feel like we're making progress, and others when the pain feels as fresh as it did on the first day. This ebb and flow is a natural part of the process. Creating space for healing means allowing ourselves to move through these cycles without judgment, trusting that the process is working even when it doesn't feel like it. Healing also requires us to create space for self-compassion. It's easy to be hard on ourselves when we're hurting, to feel like we should be over it by now or that we're not handling things the right way. But healing is not about meeting anyone else's expectations, including our own. It's about treating ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we would offer a friend. This means acknowledging our pain, validating our feelings, and giving ourselves the grace to heal in our own time and way. Finally, creating space for healing involves making room for hope. Pain and loss can feel all-consuming, leaving little room for anything else. But healing is not just about letting go of pain, it's about making room for what comes next. This might mean dreaming new dreams, building new relationships, or simply rediscovering the joy of small, everyday moments. Hope doesn't erase the pain of what we've lost, but it gives us a reason to keep moving forward. By creating space for healing, we create space for hope to take root and grow. Freedom is often thought of as a tangible state, freedom from oppression, from physical confinement, from external control. But the most profound kind of freedom is internal, the freedom to live without the weight of resentment, fear, or regret. This kind of freedom is not given to us, it is something we must create for ourselves. It requires release, the deliberate act of letting go of what no longer serves us, what keeps us tethered to pain and the past. Through release, we free ourselves to move forward, to embrace life's possibilities, and to rediscover peace and joy. Releasing is not easy. It often means confronting emotions and experiences we've held onto for far too long. We may cling to anger, telling ourselves it is a form of justice. We may hold on to guilt, believing it is necessary for penance. We may resist letting go of old identities, habits, or relationships, fearing the void that will follow. Yet holding on to these things doesn't serve us, it traps us. The tighter we grip, the more constrained we become, unable to grow, heal, or find peace. True freedom lies in the willingness to let go. One of the most significant obstacles to release is the fear of losing control. We often believe that holding on to pain, anger, or regret gives us power over the person who hurt us, over a situation that wronged us, or over our own guilt. We may tell ourselves that if we let go, we are giving up, or that we are condoning what happened. But this is an illusion. Holding on to these feelings does not give us control, it gives them control over us. Releasing them is not about surrendering to the past, it is about reclaiming our power in the present. Another challenge in releasing is the fear of change. Letting go often means stepping into the unknown, a space that can feel frightening and uncertain. We may wonder, who am I without this anger, this pain, this story I've been carrying? The identities we form around our struggles can feel familiar, even comforting in their predictability. But clinging to them limits our potential and keeps us rooted in the past. Releasing is an act of courage, a declaration that we are ready to grow, evolve, and redefine ourselves. Release is also an act of forgiveness. Forgiveness is often misunderstood as an act we perform for others, as though by forgiving, we are absolving them of responsibility. But forgiveness is not about the other person, it is about freeing ourselves. When we forgive, we release the hold that anger and resentment have over us. We choose to no longer let the pain dictate our lives. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting, excusing, or condoning. It means deciding that our peace is more important than holding onto the weight of the past. In addition to forgiveness, releasing requires self-compassion. Many of the burdens we carry are not about others, but about ourselves. We may hold on to guilt, shame, or regret, believing that we must punish ourselves for our mistakes. But self-compassion reminds us that we are human, that we are all imperfect, that we all make choices we wish we could change, and that we all deserve grace. Releasing self-blame is one of the most liberating acts we can undertake, allowing us to move forward without the chains of our past weighing us down. Releasing is not a one-time act, it is an ongoing process. Life is full of experiences that challenge us, hurt us, and test our capacity to let go. Each time we face pain or disappointment, we are given the opportunity to choose release over resentment, growth over stagnation. This process is not linear, it is cyclical. There will be moments when the pain resurfaces, when we are tempted to pick up the burdens we have laid down. But with each act of release, we strengthen our ability to let go, creating more space for freedom and peace in our lives. Another critical aspect of release is understanding what it is not. Releasing does not mean forgetting or minimizing the importance of what happened. It does not mean denying our emotions or bypassing the necessary work of grieving, processing, and healing. In fact, releasing often requires us to fully acknowledge and feel our pain before we can let it go. It is only by facing our emotions head-on, by giving them the space to be seen and understood, that we can truly release them. Releasing also involves making peace with impermanence. Life is constantly changing, and nothing, no relationship, no moment, no feeling is permanent. When we resist this truth, we create suffering. We cling to the past, to what was, or to what we think should have been. But when we embrace impermanence, we open ourselves to the beauty of life as it is. We learn to appreciate what we have while we have it, and to let go when it is time to move on. In this way, release becomes an act of gratitude, a recognition that every experience, even the painful ones, has shaped us and prepared us for what lies ahead. Release also requires trust. Trust in ourselves, trust in the process, and trust in the idea that letting go will lead us to something better. This trust can be difficult to cultivate, especially when we are in the midst of pain or uncertainty. But trust is what allows us to take the leap, to set down the burdens we've been carrying, and to step into a lighter, freer way of being. Perhaps most importantly, release is an act of love for ourselves and love for life. By releasing what no longer serves us, we honor our own well-being. We say, I deserve to be free. I deserve to be happy. I deserve to move forward. This self-love is not selfish, it is necessary. It is what allows us to show up fully in our lives, to give and receive love, and to create a future unburdened by the weight of the past. Life is a journey of beginnings and endings, of holding on and letting go. It is through our courage to face pain, our willingness to allow hurt to transform us, and our commitment to healing that we uncover the strength to move forward. Each step, whether it is the vulnerability to release, the patience to heal, or the resilience to let go, brings us closer to freedom, authenticity, and peace. The path may not be easy, but it is through these challenges that we grow, evolve, and reclaim our power to live fully. In embracing the process of endings, we create space for new beginnings, reminding ourselves that even in the face of pain, hope and healing are always possible.